Hey guys, Sandy here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I am finally doing that mixed media background from Sunday. So I ended up going with the mostly orange one because I feel like that one had the most kind of votes for it at the end. Don't worry, I'm going to be doing the orange and pink later on. But I did choose this one, and I am going to scrapbook this photo of Lana at an air show. So she's wearing her Blue Angels hat. So I have the background, I have some basic gray and some other things. So let's see what I can do. All right, guys, so I am starting out by taking the white background, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of fussy cut this out. It's not a whole heck of a lot of fussy cutting. It is fussy cutting, let's be real, but it isn't detail cutting. I'm roughly cutting around it so that I have a little bit of white showing. And then the places where it splotches out, I'm not too terribly worried about that. I'm just gonna let that live with itself. And I specifically grabbed my Fisker's Sunset scissors because the colors on the handle blade reminded me of this layout. So I didn't go to the purple direction like my scissors. I ended up adding some of the kind of like distressed teal color is what it looks like to me. Does that make sense? Distressed teal? Hope it makes sense to you guys. Okay, so I also cut that bad boy in half because I figured for this one, I am going to go ahead and place it so that either side of the circle is going off of the layout. And I chose this basic gray paper that had some pre-printed stuff on the sides so that it would look like it was, you know, planned out that way. So here's that picture of Lana looking up into the sky. This is down in Pensacola. She went to the air show, got to see the Blue Angels. Whole lot of fun. Lana is actually a student pilot and has a love of airplanes like my husband does. But yeah, there is that. So now I grabbed this chipboard thing from, I think it was a Cosmo Cricket chipboard sheet, and also these little doodlebug kind of zigzaggy things. And I decided that I was going to layer them up and place my photo over top of it. Now, of course, that Cosmo Cricket bad boy, the adhesive is not there anymore. So I went ahead and added some more ATG there. And then I have the photo of Lana. I'm going to double matte her. I'm going to matte her first on a pattern paper. And then after that on the kind of textured orange paper, because you know I'm really pulling the orange colors here, guys. I'm trying to not embrace any of the pink here. When I do the other one that is orange and pink, I'm definitely going to embrace that pink, and I'm also going to treat it differently. I won't do the same thing here. I won't cut it in half and have it hanging off the edge. But this little border piece that I placed over here on the right hand side, I needed to shift it over because I wanted a tiny bit of the mandala to peek out off of the left hand side of the photo as well, because I know that I'm going to do a cluster down here at the bottom right hand corner of the photo. So I didn't want it to just look like there was this piece that matched the left hand side hanging out of the top of the photo. I wanted you to actually be able to tell that it was similar to what was across the page from it, even if it's not going to be exactly the same thing. So I also pulled out my Simple Stories Here and There collection, which is one of the very few collections that I actually am keeping in a collection, like in its collection. It isn't one that I have broken apart and just put into my stash. I'm not exactly sure why. I thought that I might use it for a trip, but I've just decided that I'm just going to leave it in collection form and then grab it. I don't know. I can't tell you my thought process on that because there really isn't one that makes sense. I don't like keeping collections together unless they are for a specific purpose. Or my Disney stuff. I don't even keep all of that together. I usually break them apart, but every once in a while, you guys, there's a collection that something about it makes me want to keep it together, and that's this one. So I am going to go through that. I've got a couple of different die-cut plastic bins here that I'm going to dig through and find things to create a cluster. So I want to have a title cluster down on the right-hand side of the page, and then I want to put a decorative cluster over on the top left-hand side of the page. So even though my page is basically divided in half from left to right, and even though I have this anchoring point of this vertical line with that chipboard and the zigzag stuff, I still want a kind of diagonal line of embellishment. So it's kind of, I guess it's kind of combining design theory stuff, but you know, I'm making it work for me and the way I think something will look good. So I do put a little bit of fun foam on the opposite side of the photo because I don't want the photo falling down off of the chipboard piece. And then, as you can see, I was building my cluster as a cluster and not building it on the page and then gluing it down. Now, I do have a couple of chipboard pieces on here, and that one chipboard piece that says Summer Pass on it, I do go ahead and get my pen blade and kind of cut off some of the layers of chipboard there so that it can easily rest on top of that Cosmo Cricut vertical chipboard. So it's not like humping over top of it. It's kind of, it's not exactly flush, but it's more flush than it would have been if I just would have put two pieces of chipboard right on top of each other. I'm also going to go ahead and get a cluster going up here. I decided to bring in this orange stripe piece, the same as I did down at the bottom, for two reasons. One, I thought it would be great to have something that was the same thing on each side of the layout. And then I also really just wanted to emphasize the fact that this background that I started with was orange, and I'm really just diving into the orange, right? So I hope that that comes through. Now, I was thinking about a couple different options from these foam stickers. Ultimately, I didn't go with them for the title, and that's okay. I ended up going a different direction, and I like what happened with that. I wanted to bring in that little geotag with the airplane on it, but it just didn't feel right on the page. Like it just felt out of place. So now my cluster is almost finished down here. I am going to add one more tiny little thing to that. And then I'm going to add something over here on the right hand side. Now I thought that fun times and the happy moment were going to layer up down here at the bottom. I like the way that it fit in the space, but that's going to change. Once I take this sticker off and use it as kind of a base, it changes. It does have a speech bubble, so as you can see, I just built it right over top of the sticker and pulled it off. I don't even remember what the sticker said, but I liked the colors of the sticker more than I liked what the sticker said. So I went ahead and kind of put my cluster on top of there, popped up that little pool ticket thing that says adventure starts here. And then after I did that, I felt like it was still a little bit naked over here. So instead of having that happy moment and fun times down there at the bottom, I decided to bring it up here onto the top. And I like that a lot more. That's where I put a little pop foam on that thing. I'm also using a wood veneer airplane. I have all different kinds of airplane styles on this layout, you guys, and I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I have airplanes going in opposite directions. Again, doesn't bother me. Lana is at an air show, so there's a ton of different kinds of airplanes, and believe me, they are going all which directions. So I decided to dig into another one of my kind of travel-y ephemera boxes, and I end up pulling out this one little thing out of here, and it is a just a little die cut, and I wanted to tuck something in right here where I had that bigger die cut, but that didn't work, even though I really love the colors for the page. But I ended up finding this smaller circle one, and it really has no bearing or closeness to Pensacola, because it says Minnesota St. Paul on it. But you know what? I liked the way it looked, so I went ahead and tucked that in there as well. And now that little kind of unfinished cluster over in that upper right hand corner is kind of eliminated because I just put that there. And the colors are a good match for the layout, so it just feels right. So even though the theme isn't exactly right because of the location that it says, it's fine. Now I ended up doing a small title here. It's just going to be go inside of brackets. And it's funny because I'm putting brackets on a layout. So you guys know how I feel about butterflies on a layout. Well, way back in probably 2006, 2007, I was so anti-brackets. Maybe 2008, somewhere around there. Brackets were everywhere. Brackets were such a cool thing, and everybody was putting brackets on their pages, and I hated it. Absolutely hated it. But there have been a couple times since then that I've used brackets on a page like that. But again, not one of my go-to things to do. I just felt like this layout, it would look good, and it would kind of call attention to the title here. So I also got some tiny word phrases from Tim Holtz and chopped one up. It says, start doing things you love. And I figured that that was completely appropriate because Lana is a lover of airplanes. So anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this layout. Thanks so much for joining. For those of you that like the orange background best, I hope you enjoyed the layout. For those of you that wanted the pink and orange, that'll come later. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys again real soon for another video.